Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be looking at some Glup Shittos Star Wars characters that I feel, don't get the recognition they deserve as Glup Shittos characters. I mean, because the whole point of a Glup Shittos character is that they are niche, that they're kind of just like forgotten about, random, weird kind of creature characters. But that's what makes them notorious, is the fact that they are so just kind of forgotten about and just kind of irrelevant. And like Banquaneros, is a good example of a kind of popular Glup Shittos who's popular because of the fact that he's, kind of just a weird, lanky, niche little creature. When it's all that's the other thing, part of it is like the goofier the name the character has, that the more they stand out as a Glup Shittos. And the first one that we have here is not necessarily, he's not a canon character, but he's definitely a Glup Shittos, and that is Marfalump. So Marfalump was part of the 1999 Pepsi Phantom Menace campaign. And he was a character, a mascot, whose whole thing was that he loved Pepsi and he loved Star Wars. And I think he kind of was, poking fun at kind of like basement dweller, kind of Star Wars, I guess, Star Wars obsessed grown men or whatever. And it was kind of like, it was like a jab towards, I guess, that side of the kind of more obsessive, more like a lonesome and loathsome Star Wars community. And it was just it was an interesting campaign because it was fun to see them do an original character for it, but the design for this guy was just a little I guess that was the whole point. It was kind of reminiscent of Watto. He was just kind of gross to look at with his bloated little gut and his 4 arms, but I don't know how well the campaign did with him, but we never saw him after 1999, and I feel like his character, also kind of fed into the Jar Jar Binks trend with Star Wars of kind of characters that are more, so feeding into the more young kind of child audience for Star Wars, and that's the thing, I understand that's what George Lucas wanted to do. You see that even with Return of the Jedi with Ewoks and things like that, but it's deeper than that, because the thing is, George Lucas doesn't care when it came to Return of the Jedi, especially. He doesn't care about making movies for the kids. He just cares about selling things. The whole point of Jar Jar Binks was to have a character the kids could latch onto so they could sell a bunch of t-shirts with Jar Jar Binks on it. It was the same thing with the Ewoks. And I guess they had the same idea with this character, that he would, appeal to a kid audience, and that would cause people to go see Star Wars and cause people to buy more Pepsi. You can find the advertisements from 1999 on YouTube if you want to check them out. But I think that concludes Marfalump, and we'll move on to the next character, which is Ungar Dang, I think, or Ungar Dung. This guy is so weird because he's I don't know if it's canon or if it's theorized, but it's said that he is Dengar. So Dengar has kind of become even further than characters like Darth Vader, where he's kind of become more machine than man, to the extent that he's immortal at this point. His whole point of his existence is just to collect bounties, and he's kind of just become this entity. He's not human anymore. It's so weird. He's kind of just immortal, and he's a very creepy character. It's one of the most creepy Star Wars character designs that I have ever seen, and I think he only appears in Rise of Skywalker. He's very interesting, very unique, kind of mysterious character. And I don't know if it's ever stated, but it's heavily alluded to that this is Dengar. This next Glup Shittos is Jedi Master Halsey, who appears in an episode of the Clone Wars. I don't know the exact episode, and he dies defending the temple of, I think, Tita on the planet of Darivon. And he's fighting alongside another kind of Glup Shittos clone I'd never heard of, named Commander Trauma, which is a very interesting, unique name to have, but a really cool armor on that guy. But Commander Halsey is, sorry, not Commander, Master Halsey is a Jedi who dies alongside his Padawan, so I don't know the name of his Padawan, but he's also a species that I've never seen before, a species being Runin, which is, they look really similar to Geonosians. Sorry, Neomodians. Sorry, I guess a little Geonosian there. No, not really, just Neomodian. It's purely, like, really similar, really adjacent to the Neomodian. They might be like a cousin to the species or something. But yeah, kind of like reminiscent of the classic kind of, 60s Hollywood idea of what do you think an alien would look like. And he's kind of just a character similar to, I would say, Kit Fisto's apprentice who dies in General Grievous's lair. He's kind of a throwaway Jedi, He's kind of, his whole thing is like, oh, you're just sad he died, not because of his character, but because he's just a Jedi and he's like a good guy. He's very kind of, throwaway Jedi, similar to Master, what's his name from Attack of the Clones? Coleman Trebor, Master Trebor, in the way that he's kind of like, I guess he's like, he used, like, these kind of Jedi characters are, because he's killed by Savage Opress, is these kind of characters are just used to, like, show, how powerful another character is, the force they're fighting against is, like, Jango Fett just whips out his blaster and kills Coleman Trebor. It's kind of just to show, oh, wow, okay, Jango Fett's extremely powerful, he's extremely quick, he's extremely, agile or whatever, he's able to kill a Jedi instantly, and it's kind of, I guess, yeah, just to show that this threat is, something is very intimidating and is not something to be, dealt with lightly, I guess, is like the whole point of characters like this. Now, the final character on this list is Tito from Force Awakens. So Tito is, I forget, like, what his importance is in the episode. I think he steals from Rey or something. He's like a little side kind of nemesis for Rey. Kind of similar to, like, Ungar Platt, who's another Glup Shitto. But Tito is, I really like his character design. He's really similar to, like, he's like a more feisty, kind of greedy Jawa. But he's a character that, I think he's one that maybe people would recognize, like, oh, yeah, it's the guy from Force Awakens. But he's one that you wouldn't know his name. Like, similar to Ben Quadinaros, like a character that, if you saw a picture of him, you'd be like, oh, that's the guy from Phantom Menace. But it's not until recently that you'd be like, oh, that's, you'd actually know the name of the character. It's like characters like that. Like Zam Wessel, I think, is another one. I feel like her name is not one that people would know, but they would definitely recognize her character. That is going to conclude today's episode. I might do another video like this in the future. Expect more full-length uploads coming this upcoming week, and expect more short-length content as well. I need to try and, get back on the train of making more consistent content for you guys, and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon.